哪一年的？
我是99年的。
Hi, let me introduce myself. I was born in 99, a true Nanjing native. Currently, I work in social media content creation and my annual income is quite good, around 200,000 to 300,000 yuan. Oh, and yes, it's true what people say, my family and those around me don't demand a bride price. When it comes to relationships, I have two very different sets of standards for dating versus marriage. For dating, I don't care about income. The most important things are that he must be very handsome, have a great physique, a good personality, and he absolutely must dote on me. That's the phase for enjoying romance. But when it comes to marriage, everything changes completely. Looks no longer matter. At this stage, I only look at his family background, his character, and his integrity because marriage is a long-term commitment that requires stability. Regarding finances for marriage, I have two scenarios. If his family has substantial assets, say around 10 million yuan, then I'd be perfectly fine, even if he only earns 100,000 yuan a year, as the security comes from the family's foundation. However, if he comes from an ordinary working-class family, he needs to be self-reliant. I would expect him to earn at least 30,000 yuan a month, so he can rise above his family's circumstances and build a better future with me. As for age, I'm quite open-minded. If all other conditions are met, age isn't an issue, whether he's 50 or 60, as long as it's legal. However, there is one thing I absolutely cannot compromise on: geography. For dating, he can be from anywhere, even from another country. But for marriage, he must be from Nanjing and ideally from the central districts like Jianye, Gulu, or Yuhua. If he's from a more distant area like Jiangbei, he would have to move to my side of the city because I wouldn't move there. Just crossing the river makes me feel far away and homesick, and my parents wouldn't approve either. Perhaps my standards seem a bit narrow to some, but I truly believe that finding someone close to home to build a family with is still the best way.
小哥哥们，如果你有稳定工作
Gentlemen, let me ask you this. If you're around 45 years old, have a stable job earning 4,500 to 6,000 renminbi per month, own a small apartment, and have never been married, how would you feel if someone introduced you to a woman about 10 years younger who's divorced and has a child? Would you feel offended? Today, I got harshly criticized by a man because I tried to set him up with someone like that. He said, "Even Dorgan couldn't solve this kind of situation, and now you expect me to become someone's stepfather? I haven't even been married once. Why would I settle for this?" Let me explain this man's situation. He was born in 1979, never married, 170 centimeters tall, a bit overweight at around 170 to 180 pounds, with some gray in his hair and visible wrinkles, just as you'd expect at his age. He lives alone in a 50-square-meter apartment left to him by his now-deceased parents, and works at a local street office earning about 4,500 renminbi a month. No debt, no addictions, no red flags. He's actually a decent guy, honest and grounded. He asked me what kind of woman I thought would be suitable for him. Coincidentally, I had just met a woman born in 1988, 158 centimeters tall, in great shape, and also quite grounded. She's divorced with a child, but here's the key: she has no financial demands. All she wants is someone with a place to live. Her ex-husband still supports the child financially. She's not looking for a provider, just a decent partner. So I suggested the match, and he blew up. "You're telling me I waited all these years to end up with a divorced woman with a kid?" he shouted. So let me throw the question to you. If you were a matchmaker and met a man like this, middle-aged, modest income, never married, who would you realistically introduce him to? A younger, never married woman? Probably not. Most younger women who are willing to marry older men are looking for financial stability, and 4,500 renminbi per month just isn't going to cut it. If he hopes to marry a woman closer to his age who's also never been married, chances are she's financially better off, and very few successful women are willing to marry men who earn significantly less than they do, especially if his appearance, education, and job are just average. That's why I truly believed this pairing made sense. Yet I still got scolded. So let me ask again. If a woman is kind, stable, and emotionally available, but just happens to be divorced with a child, is that really a deal breaker? Is that some kind of original sin? Or is it something men should be willing to look past?
但凡在这个家庭生活当中，如果这个女主她是非常苦的人。
Have you noticed that in family life, if a wife feels miserable and exhausted, it's almost certain she chose the wrong family to marry into? Today, I want to share a practical perspective to help you understand why picking the right family is crucial. To have a happy marriage, you need to think carefully before tying the knot. Some say check the other person's money, dowry, or education, but no, those don't fully determine happiness. Married life is about everyday things like cooking, chores, and small daily matters that can make you miserable if you're not careful. Never choose a family where the mother-in-law lives a miserable, self-sacrificing life, scrimping without joy, social life, or personal enjoyment, because a man raised in such a family will think, women should live like my mom, frugal, staying home, caring for husband and kids, with no need for fun or socializing, expecting you to follow suit, and if you live freely or enjoy life, both he and his mother will feel you're not proper. If the mother-in-law has lived a hard life, she'll struggle to accept you living better, thinking, why did I suffer all my life while you get to live comfortably? This gap can lead to conflicts, pressuring you to live like her, without shopping or outings, just staying home, which will exhaust you and strip away your joy. Instead, choose a family where the mother-in-law has a vibrant life, her own hobbies, job, friends, or enjoys tea, travel, or social activities. Such women are busy with their own lives, won't meddle much in yours, and respect your lifestyle because they value enjoying life themselves, leading to a freer, happier life for you as a daughter-in-law, as I've seen in many families around me. If a man says his mother sacrificed a lot and lived a hard life to raise him, run away fast, because he might expect you to live the same miserable life, trapped in a frugal, joyless role just to please him and his family. Marriage isn't just about two people, it's about choosing a whole family, so before marrying, closely observe the mother-in-law's life, miserable or joyful, as it will directly impact your future happiness. Don't just focus on money or education, but on the small details of how the family lives, and by choosing the right family, your marriage will be much more comfortable and happy.
很多男的咨询我说我是女权啊，说铺垫彩礼那个事情你怎么不说了，哑巴了。
Many people scoff when I say I'm a feminist, then ask why I'm not speaking out about the bride price issue. The truth is, I've talked about this topic to death. I even have a whole collection of videos on it. My stance has always been crystal clear. I am resolutely against the plague of exorbitant bride prices. My advice to all men is this. If a woman or her parents tell you, if you don't have this much for the bride price, don't marry my daughter, then even if you can afford it, you need to run. Run as fast as you can. A family like that, from top to bottom, has their hearts buried in a pit of money. Get involved with them, and your future will be filled with misery. So, should the bride price exist at all? Yes, but it must be reasonable and fair. It should be the result of a mutual discussion and agreement between both families, based on customs and their actual circumstances, not a one-sided demand from the woman's side. To be honest, in these cases of sky-high bride prices, both the man and the woman are pitiful victims. Think about the man. Where does a young man get 900,000 yuan? It's undoubtedly money his parents borrowed from everywhere. Pressured by his family, he is forced to marry a woman he doesn't even love. An adult man who can't even control his own destiny, pushed into a marriage simply to carry on the family line, fathering a child out of obligation, not love. Tell me, is that man not a tragic figure? And if this marriage proceeds, the woman is just as pitiable. Especially in places like Fujian, what's called marrying off a daughter is, in essence, a business transaction. If her family is struggling and has a son who also needs to get married, that bride price money will almost never reach the bride herself. She carries the stigma of being sold for a high price, yet she doesn't receive a single cent of it. Furthermore, why is such a large sum demanded? Because she is expected to fulfill one duty, to give birth to a son. Do you think a woman in that position is marrying for love? What is she in that marriage? Perhaps she herself couldn't even explain it. When people tell me, "You have to respect our customs," I say frankly that I cannot accept this. This is the annihilation and suppression of humanity for both men and women. I believe the state should intervene forcefully to eradicate this harmful practice, or at least establish a reasonable regulation, like a bride price cap equivalent to 1 or 2 years of the woman's salary. With a clear standard, no one could complain it's too high or too low, and it would end the endless comparisons and jealousy. I see many women in the comments section saying things like, "Seeing that 900,000 yuan bride price makes me regret marrying so cheaply." Do you really think you married cheaply? Or do you mean you sold yourself too cheaply? If you marry someone solely for money, let me ask you, is that sum of money enough to last you a lifetime? The essence of marriage should be finding a good person you want to build a life with. It's not, "I will marry him, be his servant, and be his baby-making machine until a son is born," all based on how much he pays. If you hold that belief, selling your entire life for a few 100,000 yuan, then I respect your choice. But honestly, from the bottom of my heart, I find such a woman incredibly tragic. The debate often begins with a familiar female sentiment. If a man doesn't have a car and a house, why should I choose him? My perspective on this is clear. While I don't deny the importance of stability, we must flip that question around. Once a man has worked hard enough to meet your exact standard, once he has the car and the house, a new, far more critical question arises. So, why should he choose you? You must remember this. Having a car and a house has effectively become the entry-level ticket to the marriage market, a standard set by women for men. Before a man has that ticket, he is the one being judged. But the very moment he earns it, the roles completely reverse. He is no longer just a candidate seeking approval. He becomes a buyer with the power of choice, and he has every right to seek out the best possible options for himself. This logic, importantly, doesn't discriminate by age. Let's take a more blunt and realistic example: an older, established man with a house, a car, and millions in savings. Do you honestly believe he's going to look for a 40-year-old woman?
No.
He will leverage those assets to seek out younger women, because even if his goal is simply to find a companion to take care of him, he will choose youth. This isn't an uncomfortable truth. It's the fundamental nature of the value market. Therefore, when you set a material standard, you are inadvertently entering a transactional game. The issue isn't whether an older man deserves a younger woman or if he is violating morals by seeking one. The point is, he is simply playing by the very rules of the game that you established. The standard you set, ironically, becomes the very weapon that works against you the moment he achieves it. That isn't a personal attack. It's just logic.
现在的相亲简直就跟吃拖鞋一样，吃起来一股子塑料味。
Honestly, blind dating these days feels like chewing on a plastic slipper. It has the taste of artificiality, accompanied by a faint, unpleasant odor, yet you can't just toss it aside because you feel you have no better options. And recently, another older, single woman went viral. Not for anything profound, but because she had already entered the blind dating arena and still tried to play hard to get. The irony? Her counterpart was no teenage boy. He had neither the time nor the interest to play her games. The result? A swift, merciless block. What's worse, not only did she fail to see her mistake, but she felt incredibly wronged. She furiously vented to the matchmaker and then took to social media, complaining that the man was too impatient and that with such an attitude, he'd be single forever. So, what really happened? The woman is 33 years old, a university graduate working in administration, with her profile describing her looks as cute. Allow me to interject here. Cute is a very ambiguous term. If she were beautiful, the profile would have just said, highly attractive. Cute is often a euphemism for short and chubby. Those who know, know. The man is 34 years old, also a university graduate, 175 centimeters, 5 feet 9 inches tall, an engineer with an annual income of 150,000 yuan, and already owns a house and a car. A very solid and practical profile. After being set up by the matchmaker, the two went out for dinner. The man showed absolute sincerity. He picked her up and dropped her off by car and proactively paid the bill. His attitude was so impeccable that there was nothing to fault. Even in her later social media post, she admitted that she had mentally given him a very high score and thought he was a promising match. Just when it seemed everything was going smoothly, she decided to start performing. After he dropped her off, the man texted to ask how she felt about him and if she saw a possibility of moving forward. She replied with a single, curt word, "Good," and then went silent. I have to be clear here. People who resort to blind dates are not young anymore. Their goal is fast, efficient, and precise in order to settle the major business of life. If it works, you move forward. If not, you part ways to avoid wasting each other's time. If people had time for slow-burn romance, who would even be in this market? But the woman ignored all of this. In the following days, she fully committed to her cat-and-mouse game. He'd text in the morning. She'd reply in the afternoon. He'd text in the evening. She'd reply the next day, with her responses always being terse, one-word answers like yes, or got it. Seeing her indifference and having his movie invitation rejected, the man concluded he had no chance. He wasn't a fool. He understood the signals. He decisively blocked her number and continued his search. Upon discovering she was blocked, the woman flew into a rage, calling and berating the matchmaker for introducing her to an impatient man. She even asked the matchmaker to relay a message. Despite his good qualifications, he still had to pass her tests to slowly win her heart. When the matchmaker relayed this, the man exploded. "Is she delusional?" he yelled into the phone. Acting so high and mighty, yet so demanding. Who can stand that? It's obvious she's treating me like a backup option, a fish in her pond. I'm not a simp. Whoever wants to play that game can go ahead, but I'm out. After hearing this blunt rejection, the woman didn't reflect at all. Instead, she went online to post a furious rant, claiming that giving him the chance to pursue her was a favor and that he was ungrateful for daring to refuse. She labeled him a toxic chauvinist and warned all other women never to marry such a man. Regarding this affair, netizens offered many sharp comments, which I'll summarize in a short poem. She played hard to get. Now she's left on the shelf. Acted so reserved, his hand she couldn't compel. Fantasized about being chased. A ridiculous dream. With a heart so scheming, no pity for her it would seem.
但是舔狗为什么不生效呢？因为它只有这一招，就是我给你的是组合拳。
Guys, have you ever wondered why blind chasing or being a simp doesn't work? It's because it's just a single, ineffective move, while building a relationship where someone is genuinely willing to invest their time, emotions, or even resources in you requires a strategic combo punch. Today, I'm sharing 4 detailed steps to create a lasting, meaningful relationship, not just a fleeting spark that fades like fireworks. If you're curious about making a relationship truly solid, check out my previous post for more context. First, you must create attraction, but understand that attraction isn't the ultimate goal. It's merely a tool. Many guys mistakenly think making her laugh or clicking with her is enough, but that's just the starting point, like setting a positive vibe before signing a business contract. In relationships, attraction paves the way for real progress, like holding hands or officially becoming a couple. To spark attraction, ensure she enjoys your conversations, feels comfortable with your appearance or personality, and finds your vibe appealing. Without this, she has no reason to invest in you. Second, after building attraction, you need to show her that investing in you offers a return. People only commit time or emotions when they see value in you, but many women hesitate, fearing deception or heartbreak, like being cheated in love and money. To counter this, demonstrate you're trustworthy and reciprocate care. During chats, casually mention how you treat friends well, often helping them first, or share stories from past relationships where you created surprises, gave thoughtful gifts, or went out of your way to pick her up when needed, reassuring her that investing in you won't leave her empty-handed. Third, here's the killer move. Even if she's attracted and trusts your value, some women, especially those hurt before or with more life experience, will still hesitate, just like you doubt a financial fund promising 8 to 15% returns without proof. In relationships, you must invest first. Treat her to a meal, choose a date spot convenient for her, or put in extra time and effort. This is what simps do, but they fail because it's their only move. You're different because you've already built attraction and shown value, so your investment encourages her to reciprocate rather than exploit you. Fourth, after mastering the first 3 steps, proactive women will start investing in you. Like one of my students whose girlfriend, a student with little money, gave him her card to shop with because he followed these steps. For more passive women, you need to actively request reciprocation. For example, when you're both having a great time, gently say, "Babe, if you treat me well, I'll treat you even better." This might sound transactional, but since you've laid the groundwork with attraction, value, and your own investment, she'll see you as someone who also needs love, not a user, encouraging her to invest time, emotions, or even resources, strengthening the bond and preventing it from being as fragile as fireworks. Why does simping fail? Because it's just blind investment without attraction or proof of value, leaving women confused about intentions, often leading to exploitation or indifference. But with these 4 steps, you create a two-way relationship where both invest, reducing the risk of her ghosting or losing interest, unlike the fleeting connections some guys experience. I've seen my students succeed, like the girlfriend who shared her card, because they followed this combo punch: attraction, value, investing first, and encouraging reciprocation. If you just simp, you'll crash and burn, but these steps will inspire her to invest in you, building a strong, lasting relationship. If this resonates, follow me for the next post, where I'll dive into specific words and actions to make this work.
3次約會就能夠成功牽手，你要點樣做啦？
If you want to successfully hold someone's hand after just 3 dates, this is the guide you need. Save it, replay it. Trust me, it'll change how you date. Many people complain that dating is a waste of time, but that's only because they don't understand that each stage of dating serves a different purpose. The goal of the first date is simple: get to know each other. This is the phase of basic introductions, background, interests, work, personality. That's why you should pick a relaxed and comfortable setting like a quiet cafe or a small tea house with music. The environment helps create space for natural conversation without pressure. The second date is about upgrading the emotional connection. If someone agrees to meet you again, it's a sign they're interested. Now is the time to move things forward, but gently. Choose activities that create physical closeness and interaction, such as rock climbing, archery, or skiing. These activities naturally encourage small gestures of care and cooperation. One of my clients told me that on her very first date, they went skiing. The guy helped her with her boots, fetched her coat, and they ended up holding each other while trembling from the cold. Within 2 hours, their relationship progressed rapidly without forcing anything. By the third date, it's time to create the right atmosphere and confirm the relationship. Emotion matters now. Try going to a concert, Guangzhou has plenty, or even just watch a movie together or take a Ferris wheel ride. The point is, choose something that stirs emotion and brings hearts closer. In that kind of atmosphere, things like holding hands or hugging will happen naturally, almost effortlessly. If you follow these 3 stages thoughtfully and confidently, getting into a relationship is no longer a mystery. It's just a matter of time.
看多了互联网，我不知道你们身边真实生活之中是一个
After seeing so much content on the internet, I honestly wonder if people have lost touch with what real life looks like. So today, I just want to share what I've observed around me, my neighbors, friends, colleagues, how their lives and marriages actually work in reality. Let's talk about household chores first. Among the married couples I know, it's usually the men who cook. Women often take care of grocery shopping through apps and throw the ingredients into the fridge. Men typically do the dishwashing, take out the trash, and use the vacuum, usually a robot these days. Mopping? Whoever's free does it. There's no fixed division of labor. Women often change the bed sheets and pillowcases because they're more attentive to cleanliness. Generally speaking, women focus on neat and personal tasks, while men tend to handle more physical or technical work. When it comes to income, both partners work and earn money. There's rarely a big gap between the two. If there is, the man may earn slightly more, maybe 3,000 renminbi at most. Almost none of them live with their in-laws. Their cars are usually mid-range, costing around 200,000 to 300,000 renminbi. That's pretty standard for people I know here in Beijing. Having kids? Most families do, and having one child doesn't usually cause major financial stress, thanks to help from grandparents. But for those who decide to have a second child, the pressure noticeably increases. Now, compared to what we see online, pretty girls flaunting luxury goods, men partying and throwing cash around, the truth is far more grounded. The men I know don't live in indulgence. The women aren't reckless shoppers. They spend most of their time parenting, going on walks, or taking kids to parks. Women shop more during holidays, but mostly for the household. When it comes to luxury goods, most only buy one item every 2 or 3 years. And no, men don't hand over their full salaries to the household either. They keep a portion for themselves, usually about half or a little more. I'm not claiming this is everyone's life, but it's what I see around me. That's why I say, don't let the internet distort your view of relationships or family life. Social media often amplifies a very small and extreme minority, people who haven't even lived the life they're talking about. Focus on your own real life. Do what real people do. Don't let illusions online pull you away from the life you're actually meant to live.
Through the above stories, we understand that in today's world of dating and marriage, there's no longer a clear line between right and wrong, only what fits and what doesn't. From the 33-year-old woman seeking emotional connection over wealth to the middle-aged man rejecting a divorced mother, one thing becomes clear. Everyone has their standards, and no one is wrong for having them. But what truly matters is not our standards, but how we treat others who don't meet them. You may not be rich, young, or stunning, but if you can create value, make someone feel safe, respected, and chosen, you still deserve love. And you also have every right to walk away from what doesn't serve you. To the women out there, don't be afraid of being too picky. You are not born to repeat your mother-in-law's sacrifices. You are allowed to want more joy, autonomy, dignity. To the men, having a car and house doesn't guarantee love. Real stability lies in emotional maturity, the ability to share, to support, to grow with someone. Marriage is not a transaction. It's not a test or a trade. It's two people choosing each other every day with kindness and clarity. Don't use love to manipulate. Don't give just to earn something back. And don't believe money makes you the prize. In the end, remember, you don't have to be perfect to be loved. You just have to be honest and find someone who sees the value in that. A good marriage isn't built by meeting standards. It's built by meeting hearts. So what about you? After watching all the stories above, what are your thoughts? Please leave your thoughts in the comment section, and if you found the video good, please give me a like, a share, and a subscription so the channel can grow. Thank you very much, and see you in the next videos on the Chinese Emotion channel.